The Quench, where you ask, we answer.
Traumatic incidences are uncontrollable events that leave imprints in our minds. So normally when people go through traumas, they continue to live normal lives, but these imprints affect how they associate with people every single day. They affect their relationship, they affect their moods. So today we are discussing overcoming trauma. Discussing overcoming trauma in relationships and in our general interactions with human beings. To see this through, I am joined by psychologist King and by Pastor Mary, who are going to be our voices of experts to answer the questions that our very knowledgeable and diverse audience have towards overcoming trauma. Now, in this episode, we're going to be listing out a few traumas. We're going to be putting forward a few scenarios that have come through because of traumatic incidences. We're going to have the conceptual understanding of trauma, different types of trauma, and subjects in order to understand how do we go about circumventing life with trauma. My name is Wangeshi Karemi and this is The Quench with MBCI TV. And on our first note, I will ask Psychologist King to define trauma and tell us from your definition, what are the different kinds of traumas that people face?
Thank you. And how are you? So you've heard my name is K. Everybody calls me K. My friends, my enemies, anyone in between. So it'd be safe to call me K too. Now, we know that we are, can I say, multidimensional beings. We are able to feel and interact at different dimensions, whether physical, emotional, psychological, different dimensions. I want to put it in as simple language as possible by trying to relate you with life experiences. Who has ever hit their toe on something? You hit your toe on something when you are barefoot.
That's stable. The relationship between the chair and that small finger.
When it fellowships,
Yeah, fellowship.
with commitment. How did you react?
Yeah.
Was it voluntary? Did you feel
I think
nice?
from MMRs we can get it was the worst experience ever.
Yes. Now, trauma, take it like that. In simple layman's language, trauma can be defined as injury. Injuries differ in seriousness and intensity. And injuries also are multidimensional. You can have physical injury when your teeth fellowshipped with your tongue in a hostile embrace. You remember? How did it feel? No? When your toe fellowshipped with that rock or that tabletop, it resulted in injury. There may not have been any physical mark, but the experience left a mark. Then there is a injury at the emotional plane. That one we call the psychological injury. There can be injury on the social aspect. There can be injury even in your faith orientation. Basically, that is what we call trauma. It is an injury. Take it like that, an injury.
Okay.
So in formal language, we say trauma is a result of an event. An event, and that event is sudden and it is bad. I'm trying to use simple language. It is bad. So it hurts you, it injures you, whether it is physically, emotionally, or otherwise. That is called trauma.
Trauma is only negative. It can never be positive.
It's negative because it's injury. There is no positive injury.
There is none.
Yes. Now, you may have hit your toe once. And then you jump, praise and worship there in your own language. And then, by the time you set your foot down, it fellowships with something else, which is also committed to make sure that they announce their presence. And then you resume your jumping up and down. And by the time you settle down, you push your thermos flask or your glass pen and then it cracks. And now you have to face the owner, especially if you're staying with the significant others. Now you are thinking, what will I say I was doing when I was breaking this one? So when it happens once and it is terrible and it affects you negatively, we call it acute trauma.
Okay.
It's one type of trauma, a level. If it happens today and tomorrow it happens again and again and again continuously, we call it chronic trauma.
Right.
You are hurt again and again and again until now that one becomes like it's part of life. Maipigwa character formation in one relationship. You move to the next thinking that you have found and then you find that one is the coach. Then you move to the other one, you find that one actually is the owner of the team. So that one becomes chronic. And then you can be facing, the reason why you struck your toe on that rock is because you were thinking about something else that was stressing you. So now that stress plus that pain, and then when you strike your toe on the rock, you fall. Someone who is not aware, you push that person and the person falls, and then now they rise to want to, answer back in kind. Now you are in trouble from multiple sources. That one we call complex trauma. Okay, those are levels. The first one single event, we call it acute. You bear the pain, it's over, you move on. Chronic trauma, it happens, comes again, reminds you the one of yesterday. Before you finish with this one, another one comes and you continue like that. It is chronic. And then multiple is where the landlord is on your toes, your significant other is on your toes. What else? The children, no, they don't have
their children.
They have their children. There are those who also have their children. And baby daddy is saying, excuse me, how sure am I? You see now? So it becomes complex trauma. And what happens is that trauma does not result in only one event. Anything that upturns, which unbalances you, anything that overturns your control, your sense of importance, your sense of control can be interpreted as a trauma. If you win jackpot today, you borrowed 50 bob ya nduthi kukuja hapa. By the time the show is over, you find you have won some 50 million. Believe you me, that itself is also a source of trauma. Suddenly, you find you are more stressed and distressed than when you came here.
Because of 50 million?
Yeah. Sudden changes in life are trauma-inducing. So, yeah, they are traumatic.
That was a very detailed briefing from the psychologist himself. He spoke like a true psychologist. He told us about acute traumas. He talked about the chronic ones and the complex ones. I want to go to you, Pastor. And I want you to tell us, from his examples, do you think you've ever faced a trauma? Or do you know someone that has faced those kinds of traumas?
Yes, I have faced trauma. And I know people that have faced trauma. Yeah, having been a pastor's wife, of course, I've come across people who are getting engaged into relationships and get even over to marriage. And you realize that their marriages are so affected by their past experiences in their relationships. Maybe like the man of God is saying that maybe you could have gone through experiences with other partners in the past, in your dating experiences, and when you just thought you were relaxing and resting from one instance, you meet the coach and the owner of the trouble.
Of the football club.
Yeah, so you find somebody maybe like I have had an experience in our church. A lady has been dated and brokenhearted dated again and brokenhearted by the coach. And now the owner of breaking hearts comes and breaks the heart. And then the fourth one comes and gets a bit serious and marries her. Then after a few months in marriage, the man who married this lady is complaining that this woman is so difficult to handle because she's looking at me as an enemy. She has brought a transference of all these, the coach, the owner, you know, all these people that stressed her and put her under pain. She has come with a picture of who a man is. And so she's not able to even to receive the love from the man who has now officially married her. And so the man does not know how to handle this scenario now. This woman is so like unsafe with me, so insecure, complaining, looking at me as the next enemy. And so that is one of the experience I would say I've like seen somebody go through trauma. And it gets very hard for this person even to enjoy love or even enjoy the marriage.
I love that example particularly because we are targeting the youth. People who are in relationships, people who are looking to get into relationships, people who interact with people every single day. You are at the prime of your life when it comes to interactions and building relationships that might last a lifetime. So it is important to understand, what do traumas do to my relationship? Now, before we go on, I had said when I began that traumas affect our moods. They affect how we behave, how we react to other people. So I want to get this from the audience. What are some weird behaviors that you have had to deal with in relationships? And I want to get answers from all of you. Just say it. It was so weird. This person was so clingy. They did this to me and they did this to me. And like I said, you speak for a multitude of many. So tell us, what are some of those behaviors that stood out for you?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Naomi Blessed. Mine is not that, but I had this one guy we were dating. And in the process of dating, he used to show me signs, every sign, bought for me gifts. We went places. But he was this kind of a jealous person. He didn't want to see anyone around me. So he was like, he was too overprotective. Anything, any message, any phone call, could just pick. But that thing it was affecting me. But it was like, me, I didn't like.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I'm Leah Ikorit. Okay, mine is the trauma I faced. I was dating this kind of a guy. And we reached at a point where, like, the wedding preparations and the parents to know each other. And then actually it just went that way. The wedding never happened. Then after that, I got into another relationship. Now this is the owner, the devil himself. So and this is something that it led me to depression. Something that led me to depression. It was very hard for me to overcome it. And I really struggled so much that it made me to hate men. Even I couldn't, even if a man could approach me, I couldn't make to date again. So when I was healed, then I got into another relationship, of which now it hit kabisa. So even this was kind of a guy. Yes, he tells me he loves me, and it reaches a point. He goes silent. Then when he comes back, he says, I was just trying to look. He was tempting me if he sees the love. I truly love him. And in real sense, actually, like, alikuwa ananiumiza. So it was really hard for me to cope up to now. And that's how I told myself, I don't think if I engage myself just that way into another relationship, because I really faced a hard time through these two relationships. And also the same person, the last, even the process of the wedding was also there. And it never came to me. So actually, I'm still, it's not that I've healed that much, but still, that wound, it's still there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I hope our psychologist is still hearing of all of these things. Now, I know you're wondering, how do these things relate to trauma? Well, the psychologist will tell us how do they relate to trauma. Yes?
Okay. Thank you so much once again. My name is Abraham Abutoz. I have a different situation here where I was once trying to tell a lady that I love her. I did a joke, but this joke brought a lot of problem into my life. Because the lady took it serious. Now, I'm a music producer and also a video producer. The lady used to come to my studio, sit there, try to do things that as if she owns the place. Even if the visitors come, she tries to behave as if she's the owner of me and I'm the owner of her. And it reaches a point whereby she doesn't want to see me with anyone. And she threatened every lady near me. When I realized that, because some ladies came to me and told me that this girl is trying to threaten us because of this and this. Therefore, I approached the lady, talked to her, and she couldn't listen to that. She went ahead and approached my pastor, telling my pastor that I have a pregnancy for this guy, and I've never done. Okay.
Okay, please let him finish.
And now the situation gotten worse. Because there is a time that my mother came and she also approached my mother, telling my mom that I have a pregnancy for this guy. And the guy is not even trying to accept it. And I didn't know that. So my mother approached me telling me, hey, I've heard that you've done something somewhere. And this thing now started disturbing my mind because my pastor is asking the same thing. Now, a person in a situation like that, like I was in right now, how are you going to help that person? Or how is that person going to deal with this situation now?
All right. I think the psychologist will answer that question. And of course, Pastor Mary will assist us in answering that because that was a very detailed story, by the way. So we have had stories about people doing things, certain acts that could be resultants of traumatic experiences in their past. And the psychologist will shed some more light on that. And then they also cause trauma to us. So we will talk more about this when we come back from the break. And I will see you right after the break.
The Quench, where you ask, we answer.